um, week 5 or week 5 lesson last prelim, no, about the life of Rizal. Okay. Diba yung last topic natin about Rizal nung prelim is about his childhood, no? How he got his family name, what does his name mean, no? Ano ba bawat name niya, ano ba ibig sabihin nun? So we have tackled all of these things, and we have learned that the family of Jose Rizal is an affluent one, no? So may influence po yun sa kanyang upbringing as a person, sa kanyang well-being as an individual. So, ngayon naman, pag-aaralan natin ang kanyang education, no? Ang kanyang academic life, na paano ba naging genius ang isang Jose Rizal, no? Ano yung mga attributes ni Rizal? Ano ba yung mga values niya, yung kanyang mga attitude that had led him to become who he was when he was still alive, no? All influenced his adult life, no? Yung mga decision making niya, yung mga prinsipyo niya, perspective niya, na mag-manifest naman sa kanyang mga writings, lahat po yun ay influenced by his education, no? Malaking role ang ginampan na ng kanyang academic life to his upbringing as a person, no? Sa kanyang attitude and the values of Rizal and his relationship to studying, no, his relationship with his academics are the things that we are expected to derive to at the end of the lesson, no? Yun po yung pinaka-main reason or pinaka-main meat, no? Yung pinaka-core meat na kailangan natin ma-acquire at the end of the lesson, no? Yung whole series ng Rizal's life, especially about his academic life in Ateneo UST as well as in abroad. Okay, so ano ba yung mga values ni Rizal, yung mga attitude niya na kailangan din nating ma-acquire as the result of our own generation. Whether you like it or not, no, you should be the result of your own generation. You don't need to be shot in Bagong Bayan to be called a result of your own generation, but if you would contribute to the development of your own nation, if you have inculcated in yourself, no, the values and attitudes that are similar of Rizal, no, being patriotic, being hardworking, being so being so diligent, no, with your work, being passionate in whatever craft, in whatever man na ginagawa mo ngayon in your course, no, you are doing that for your family and for the nation, then you can be a result of your own generation. Okay? So, we are all in the process of doing that. No, I'm not saying na kailangan si Rizal talagang i-replicate natin, but we are just learning from his values. No, hindi kailangan na i-idolize natin siya. Hindi naman yun ang aim ng course na ito. Hindi aim ng course na ito na dapat lahat tayo ay maging fanatic ni Rizal. But the aim of this course is for us to remember his values, his life, his dedication to the nation, and at the end of the day, no, that we will also become like that, no, for our society. Not the society does not expect us to die for it, no, just like Rizal did, because Rizal did not die for a nation. Alam niyo ba yun? Si Rizal po, hindi po siya napakamatay para sa bayan natin. Namatay siya dahil sa kanyang ginawa para sa bayan natin. Ibig sabihin, he did not die for our nation, he lived up for our nation. Nabuhay po siya para sa ating bansa, no? So, whatever struggle that we have right now, we always consider, no, living up for the people around us, no? So, ayan, marami na akong chika, but for our learning objectives for this morning are the following. Number 1, at the end of the lesson, you should be able to discuss the life of Rizal, now particularly his early education. Okay, secondly, to describe the people and the events that has influenced Rizal's early life, no? Ano ba yung mga contribution ng kanyang early education, mapatao man yan or event, sa kanyang upbringing. Okay, next is explain Rizal's growth as a propagandist, and lastly, identify the factors that has led to Rizal's execution. So, ito pong the last two, no, explain Rizal's growth as a propagandist. And the last one, this will be applicable for the next week natin na topic, which is Rizal's study abroad, no? Yung kanyang Rizal's life as a student in Europe. Okay, kasi about na siya sa propagandist, no? Pagiging sa propaganda, I mean, the pagiging propagandist niya doon. So, yung objective na ito ay for that week. So, it's really a series. No? Series po talaga siya. But the first two will be applicable for this morning's lecture. Okay, so let's begin with the first teachers of Jose Rizal. So, I think these teachers of Jose Rizal has contributed a lot on him in setting forth his foundations in learning, no, not just the basic ABC and the 1 2 3, no, the basic in painting or the basic in sports, but the attitude mismo, the value mismo into how should we dedicate ourselves, our resources for learning, no, for education itself. Okay, so the first teacher of Jose Rizal was his mother, no? Just like any of us, ang atong first teacher man jud no kay ang ato ang mga mother. Sila ang unang nagtudlo sa tuwa og how to speak, no? Say mama, tas imong giingon kay papa. So na bad trip imong mama. Okay? So, wait lang, am I recording this lecture? O hindi pa pala ako naka-record. Okay, so just like Jose Rizal, our first teachers are our mothers. If you did not live with your mother or you did not grow up with your mother, I know that you have a guardian, you know, that stood up as your mother, and they were your first teachers. Okay, so Doña Teodora Alonso was the first teacher of Jose Rizal, and as a young boy, Rizal demonstrated his intelligence and he's easily learning, no? Ano siya ba? Kanang fast learner siya. No, fast learner siya. And he was only 3 years old when he learned the alphabet. Makaingon ka, 3 years old? Dagang ko ang ganing panghod kay 2 years old, no? Wala pa manggoy ko kumelon sa una. No? So, Rizal was, studying on his own, no? Guided by his mother. So, at a very young age, he already showed the great interest in reading books, no? Kasi yun din yung isa sa mga foundation na tinuro ng kanyang mother. He taught Rizal how to pray and how to read. She also asked Rizal to write some verses, no? Because she noticed that Rizal has a skills in poetry, no? So, sabi sa isa sa mga sources natin dito, he also enjoyed staying in the library at their home with his mother. Na-remember ba ninyo in the prelim period na discuss natin that the family of Rizal has their own library at their home with 1,000 titles. 1,000 titles na po yun, pero hindi ibig sabihin na 1,000 books, no? So, 1,000 titles po, ibig sabihin sa isang title, kung meron siyang 12 volumes, one title lang yun. And Rizal was encouraged, no, because they have the library, so he was encouraged to really read books. So he was a lover of books. So aside from the first teacher of Jose Rizal, which is his mother, who was his mother, I mean, no, she later, the mother of Jose Rizal, she later felt the need that Rizal should have private tutors. Okay, guys, feeling niya, yung anak jud kay he's smart, no? He's intelligent, he's fast learner. I really need to invest in the education of my child, no? So, just like any other children from the Principalia class, Rizal had his private tutors as a preparation for him for formal schooling. The first tutor of Jose Rizal was Maestro Celestino. Hindi po sila sabay-sabay dumating sa buhay ni Rizal. Okay, so at a young age pa po ito si Rizal nito. He was around 4 to 8 years old. No, 4 to 8 years old, meron siya mga private tutors. Kasi nag-start siya nag-aral at the age of 9. That is in his primary school. Na-remember ninyo, in the 19th century education system, there were only 3 grade levels for the primary school. So, 9 years old na siya pumasok sa formal school. So, the rest, I mean, earlier than that, he was under a private tutor. So, the first private tutor was Maestro Celestino, followed by Lucas Padua, but among all these 3, it was Maestro Leon Monroy that has honed, no, harness niya ang skills ni Rizal in basic Latin, in reading, and in writing. Maybe because Rizal started to develop na his skills on these things, no? And during the tutorials with Maestro Celestino and Maestro Padua, maybe nagsa-start na talaga si Rizal that time. That's why the books, the literatures had recognized Maestro Leon Monroy as the one that has really contributed a lot to the skills of Rizal in reading and in writing. So, this home educated, this home education from private tutors had prepared Rizal to formal school, which he first experienced in Benyan, Laguna. So we will tackle on that later on, but let me just introduce to you as well the other first teachers of Rizal, no, the uncles of Jose Rizal. These were all Albertos, Uncle Gregorio, Uncle Jose, and Uncle Manuel. The Albertos were the half-brothers of his mother, Doña Tidora Alonso. So, medyo conflicting tong family nito kasi nga mga politicians sila. So, let's not talk about it anymore. But according to, nakichismis na ako, according to Ambet Ocampo, na nagabasa ko sa iyang libro, bakit mga Alberto, bakit magkaiba sila ng bakit magkaiba sila ng apelyido? So, according to Ambet Ocampo, he researched, nag-atugid siya dito sa Malay sa mga Alberto and he interviewed them. So, at first, medyo hesitant pa sila magpa-interview kasi nga, meron daw conflict sa ilang family. They were half brothers, half sisters, So, ayun, may conflict sa ilang family. That's why, magkaiba silang apelyido because they were different households. Okay, so much for that. Uncle Gregorio Alberto, he was a lover of books, He was a lover of books and he taught Rizal to work hard, to think for himself, and observe life keenly. So we may say that Rizal was a bookworm because he was influenced by his uncle Alberto. So, kapag describe si Rizal, or maybe when we imagine Rizal, we imagine him as somebody who is mid, isa pa ba? Ano yung impression kay Rizal? Introvert, Very smart, Very maldito, Very blue moon. So maybe it was influenced by Uncle Gregorio Alberto because he was also like that, So another was Uncle Jose Alberto. He encouraged Rizal to sketch, paint, and sculpt. So he really into arts, And Rizal was an artist, He was a creative guy. So he was a sculptor, he was a painter, he was also a sketchy, the one who sketches, So, drawinger, tawag drawinger. So, he loves to sketch, He was also good with sketch. In internet, you can Google some sketches of Jose Rizal, but don't expect them to be as nice or to be as graphically pleasing as the sketches that we have today. Kasi, understandable naman that Rizal did his sketches in a steamboat, While nag-travel siya ba, Nag-wave ang dagat, nag-sketch siya. So, nagapalayo ang image, Habang nag-sketch siya. And it was really wavy. So, yeah, nag-sketch po si Jose Rizal. And he was a really good sculptor, Nasa wood carving na ang pangalan kay the Sacred Heart of Jesus. It was a carved wood na gift niya sa isa sa mga professors in Ateneo. Because that professor is supposed to leave na para sa mag-abroad siya. So, nag-carve o ingato na image ni Rizal as a gift to his professor. Pero sadly, wala na siya na-updan sa iyang professor. Nakalako niya yung professor. And katong Sacred Heart of Jesus was kept by his alma mater, It was kept by his alma mater and it was shown to Rizal, pinakita yun kay Rizal hours before he died. Just to remind him that, ingani-ana. Because there was an issue of retraction that time. And maybe mag-retract si Rizal if ma-remember niya ang iyang religious beliefs, through his own carving. So, sana ba yung Sacred Heart of Jesus ngayon? So, it was kept in the Ateneo de Manila University Museum. So, if you would also Google that, you can find, Simple. So, lastly is Uncle Manuel Alberto. He taught Rizal about sports, His looking after Rizal's physical development. Did you know that Rizal has a sport? No, very ano siya, no, very unknown or uncommon siya na sport ni Rizal. That Rizal was sporty kasi parang hindi niya naman personality yun. So Rizal was taught by Uncle Manuel about swimming, fencing, wrestling, and other sports. But the forte of Rizal was fencing. Itong nandito sa picture natin, itong my little girl. Now, he was really good in fencing that that he that he was duel that he had duel no with Antonio Luna, no, nagkaroon sila ng duel ni Antonio Luna just because of a girl, no, nag-fencing sila ni Antonio Luna, maayo na lang jud na ay Uncle Manuel Alberto and nakabalo si Rizal about fencing because one day in his life, di ay maka-encounter siya fight, no, through fencing. So, nag-fencing sila ni Juan Luna and Juan Luna was really good in fencing and if Jose Rizal wasn't, no, if dili siya nga to, then he would be defeated. No, pero hindi nag-last long yung kanilang pag-fencing because it was out of anger. Rizal immediately ended their fight because he knew that it wasn't worth it, no? Bakit mga sila nag-away, ma'am? Nag-away sila because ganito kasi yun. There was this girl named Nelly Boosted. Nelly Boosted? I don't know how to pronounce. Pero this girl was really beautiful, no? She was a Spanish girl. Basta European siya, no? And si Juan Luna, daw kay siya gustuan ni na girl. And the only person na giningnan niya about sa iyang love and affection for Nelly was Jose Rizal. But little did he know that Rizal de Ay and Nelly Boosted got mutual understanding and are planning to get married. When Juan Luna found out about it, no, grabe ang kasoko. No, he got drunk all night. No, nagpakahubog din siya and he hinamon niya si Rizal na mag-duel daw sila ng fencing. At yun, si Rizal, pinatulan niya din. So, nag-fencing silang dalawa, but Rizal ended that because it was not worth it. No? Kasi daw, they were in the propaganda movement not to fight with each other, but to fight for the country. No? Kaya yun, nag-end ang kanilang away. Did you also know that Juan Luna and Antonio Luna, di ba, brothers man na sila, no? They were brothers and they were really good in fencing because they had their own fencing academy. No, nasa sila school for that sport, no? Magtudog nga na sport. And one of their students was Apolinario Mabini. Ma'am, Apolinario Mabini is, di ba? Dakilang lumpo. Paano siya fencing? That time kasi, hindi pa siya nagkaroon ng polio, no? Hindi pa siya nagkaroon ng polio. And he was really a good student of fencing, no? Ng mga Luna. Okay? So, ayun, hindi mo siya naging bayani dahil sa pag-fencing niya, pero naging bayani siya even though he was, differently abled, no? Differently abled na siya. So, ano ba yung talent, or ano ba yung contribution ni Apolinario Mabini kung lumpo naman po pala siya? Hindi naman siya nakipaglaban katulad ni Bonifacio, no? What he did was just like Rizal, no? His ideas, he became the advisor of our very first president of the Republic of the Philippines, Emilio Aguinaldo, no? So, ang advisor ni Emilio Aguinaldo ay si Apolinario Mabini. He was that intelligent, no? He was really wise. Even our first constitution, kung wala lang siyang ka-argue, dapat si Apolinario Mabini ang author ng ating first constitution. But because meron mga, may mga mag-disagree, no? So, ang nangyari, ibang tao na lang ibang tao ang nag-create ng ating constitution. Inspired by Cuba, it was translated to Tagalog. So, hindi atin yung ating sariling atin yung constitution natin, but banyaga siya, no? Kasi nga, there were conflicts among those patriots, no? So, hindi lang pala yung sa politika natin ngayon ang sobrang gulo. Mas magulo po sila dati. Kasi wala silang communication, no? At saka walang media. So, hindi mo alam kung sinong susuporta sa'yo. Hindi mo alam kung ano ba talaga totoo nangyari or not. Okay? So much more for fencing. Let's now go to the first formal school of Jose Rizal. So, nasabi natin kanina that his private tutors, no, his experience in homeschooling or tutorial at home, no, has influenced Rizal and prepared him for his first formal school. No, it was in Binyan, Laguna that he entered his or that he had his primary school. Bakit sa Binyan, Laguna? Wala po bang school sa Calamba, Laguna, sa hometown ni Rizal? Ay, layo nun, 1 hour away pa, no? 1 hour away ang biyahe. There was no primary school in Calamba, Laguna. In every town, no, in every municipality, there is only one primary school for boys and girls. And the teacher was a male, no, male lahat ng teacher. So hindi siya friar, it was only a Spaniard, no, ano siya, Peninsulares or Insulares, but the school will be managed by the friars. Okay, so only in the primary school that the non-friar teachers are allowed to teach in the classroom. At yung classroom po nila dati ay yung bahay ng teacher. Okay? So kung saan nakatira yung teacher, doon yung school nila. Okay, so it was Pasiano that accommodated Jose Rizal in Binyan, Laguna because their teacher, Maestro Justiniano La Cruz, was a former teacher as well of Pasiano. Okay? So, sabi ni Jose Rizal sa mga writings niya, no, kung paano niya i-describe yung experience niya under the instruction of Maestro Justiniano La Cruz, sabi niya, very strict, no? Very strict daw si Maestro. So, how strict is his teacher? He was so quick to discipline na pag konting pagkakamali lang daw, he would punish Rizal with his stick, no? Meron siyang pat-pat and, you know, and he would punish them, and he would punish his students very quickly. And sabi ni Jose Rizal, in one of his writings, there was never a day na wala daw siya nakaligtas from the stick of his teacher. Okay? So, another kwento, no, sa first formal school ni Rizal ay very backlog siya, no? He's lagging behind his classmates, no? And also, he was the center of ridicule, no? So, when he entered the class, he was asked by his teacher, marunong ka ba mag-Latin? Sabi niya, a little, sir. Do you know how to speak Spanish? A little, sir. Because of his experience with that moment, he tried to study so hard, no? So nag-self-study siya in learning Spanish and basic Latin. That at the end of the class, no, at the school year end, no, Maestro Justiniano Cruz said that he was amazed by the intelligence of Jose Rizal. He became a master in Latin and Spanish in his class. No, so sabi dito, he also had painting lessons under his maestro's father-in-law, Juancho, an old painter. Marami bang time si Rizal that time? Yes, Rizal's leisure hours were mostly spent, no, in the studio of Juancho. Juancho was a great painter and he's offering Rizal some free tutorials in painting, no, free lessons in painting and in drawing. For free yan ha, because he saw the potential in Rizal that he was really willing to learn how to paint. So, ang schedule po kasi ng klase ni Rizal before is that when he wake up at 4 a.m. to 5 a.m. Then, ang klase niya nag-start ng 8, no? Mag-end ang kanyang morning classes at around 10. Mag-resume ang kanyang class in the afternoon at around 2 p.m. at nag-end ito at around 5 or 4 p.m. So, mayroon siyang long lunch time, no? Haba talaga yung lunchtime niya. Kaya yung leisure hours niya, ginadedicate niya for learning something new. Okay, so I hope that you're gonna learn from the with this value of Jose Rizal and how we make use of our leisure time. It is not wrong to chill out, especially if it's burning out, no? Burning out na talaga yung ano, yung mga tasks natin. It's okay to chill out, but if you have leisure time, make sure to use it wisely. If you want to get rest, no, use your time to get rested, not to exhaust yourself with unnecessary things, no? Kapoy na gani ka, magsige pa jud kag pakapoy sa mga bagay na dili naman siya necessary, no? You sa Rizal. So maybe he was really born a genius, no? Maybe it's genetics that he was able to become a fast learner, no? But his attitude is what make him um, more developed when it comes to his crafts, no? Kasi naman, when it comes to skills, hindi naman siya namamana, no? It is not inborn. Maybe talent could be, but there are some talents that can be learned and can be developed. So, let's learn from that attitude of Jose Rizal, no? His value and his relationship with his study. Sabi natin kanina, he backlog, no? He was lagging behind his classmates when it comes to speaking in Latin and Spanish. But why is it that at the end of the school year, he already mastered, no, speaking those languages that were required or that were compulsory in the Spanish education system during the 19th century? Bakit naging master siya ng mga languages na yun? Eh, di ba at first naging backlog siya? He became inspired with a ridicule, no? Being ridiculed by his classmates, no? Not just that, but his attitude was really being perseverance, no? Was perseverance and also being industrious. Okay, so ayan. So, natapos na po ang primary school ni Jose Rizal. So, he was now 11 years old. So, ngayon, umuwi na siya sa kanilang hometown. So, he was, actually, nung nandun siya sa Binyan, Laguna, he was just staying there during the school days and then he would go back home during the weekends. No, pero, ngayon, since primary school lang yun siya, his parents, especially his father, decided that Rizal should be sent in a school in Manila to pursue his higher education. Ngayon, napapansin pa ninyo, his parents were really supported of him when it comes to being educated. So, the family of Rizal, even if affluent man sila or hindi sila affluent, principales man sila or hindi, but the attitude of his parents toward his education were really dedicated, no? So makita mo talaga na very supportive ang kanyang parents sa iya when it comes to academics, and they really invested in the education of their children, no? Hindi lang po ito true sa life ni Rizal. Even yung mga sisters ni Rizal, no, naka-experience din po sila ng ganitong treatment from their parents, that their parents really invested in their education. And I think it has really wrapped, no, nag-grip talaga siya, nag-grip talaga siya ng yields of beautiful things in their lives. So, I just wonder if hindi sila principales, no? If dili sila ka-afford magatog school or siguro ka-afford sila but their resources are not enough, would still be, no, ingato, no, maging ilustrado pud ba siya, maging propagandist pud ba siya. So, we don't know, but one thing is for sure, our family, no, has an influence in our education, no? The way we learn, how much we learn, our interest in learning, no, has something also to do with the foundation that were set forth by our first teachers or our family, no? So, after nun, no, ng kanyang primary education, nag-step up na si Rizal into a student in Manila. Okay, so he entered Ateneo de Manila University as his first school, no? Nag-take siya ng isang course doon. So, in Ateneo de Manila University, when Rizal entered there, he was 11 years old, And it was only 4 months after the execution of the Gumburza. Okay, so ibig sabihin medyo hot pa yung issue na yun. And anybody who is related to the Gumburza is very suspicious, no? They are being suspected by the authorities. That's why Pasiano decided to change the family name of Rizal, no, from Jose Portasio Mercado to Jose Portasio Rizal. So, na-discuss diba natin ang ibig sabihin ng Rizal? It came from the Spanish word Rizal, which means luntiang bukirin, no? Green fields. So, that's when Rizal first used his family name Rizal. Okay, so Ateneo Municipal was the former name of the Ateneo de Manila University. Pero yung original talaga na name niya is Escuela Pia. Pag sinabi po natin Escuela Pia, it means charity school. So, Escuela Pia or the Charity School of Manila, it was called as a charity school because it is supposedly be a school for the poor, no, the poor boys around the Manila Municipal. Ma'am, municipal po ang Manila. Yes po, isa pong lalawigan ng Manila before, no, ng 19th century. So, it was established by the city governor, no, in 1817 for the poor boys in Manila. But when Rizal already entered the Ateneo Manila, it was already changed from Escuela Pia to Ateneo Municipal. Bakit Ateneo pangalan ng school na yan? So, dahil nga, nag-change na kanilang mga managers ng nagmamanage ng school ba. So, mga Jesuits na po sila. And, the Ateneo, the term, it came from the Greek word Athena, no, she was a goddess of wisdom. So, since it's for the boys, no, charity school for the boys naman siya, kaya siya tinawag na Ateneo. Okay? So, it's a school for the boys, no, inspired by the goddess Athena. Okay? So, when Rizal entered there, no, he took the Bachelor in Arts, no? He's a Bachelor in Arts. So, Bachelor in Arts in what, ma'am? No, Bachelor in Arts lang din siya. Okay? So, it's like a bachelor's degree in social sciences. Okay? In literature and in writing. Okay? So, it was the first time that Rizal used his surname. Ano pa ba? Okay. So, Ateneo was managed by the Jesuit fathers. Na bakit Jesuit fathers? What happened to the other orders like Dominican, Augustinians, ano pa ba, Franciscans? So, in each university po kasi, iba't ibang order ang namamahala doon. For Ateneo, they were managed by the Jesuits, no? Sa UST naman ay mga Dominicans. So, Rizal had different experience with Ateneo and UST. Magkaiba po. Maybe because the managers of the land has their different styles in teaching, and also they have different strategies and attitudes, no, sa mga estudyante nila at saka sa mga services na binibigay nila. So sa Ateneo, na-enjoy naman ni Rizal ang kanyang study in Ateneo. As a matter of fact, no, it was his favorite school, no, compared to UST. And we will discuss that later on. So, sabi dito, he was an externo student, no, when he was studying in Ateneo. Ano ibig sabihin ng externo student? When you say externo student, these are the students that are non-boarding students. Hindi sila nakatira sa loob ng intramuros. Hindi din po sila nakatira sa loob ng school. Hindi sila boarder ng school. Okay? So, nakatira sila outside the intramuros. So, big deal po ba talaga yun, ma'am? Yes po. Big deal po sa kanila kung nakatira ka sa intramuros or not. Intramuros is the walled city of Manila. Para siyang BGC na ito ngayon. Di ba pag nakatira ka sa BGC, pag may condo ka sa Bonifacio Global City, no, para social, mga first class, no, elite, no. So, dati pa talaga, there is, Manila imperialism. Okay? Manila imperialism na pag galing ka ng Maynila, iba talaga ang dating, no? Lalo na kapag nakatira ka sa Intramuros, para siyang center of the center. Okay? So, when Rizal was studying at Ateneo, walled na dyan ng Intramuros, no? Pagkita niyo yung Intramuros karon, walled city siya. When I was in grade 5, grade 5. When I was in grade 5, I have learned that kaya pala naging walled city ang Intramuros. Kasi the Chinese merchants, no? The Chinese merchants tried to invade, no? They tried to invade the Intramuros. So they have burned the Intramuros by ground, no? Kaya for the incident not to happen again, nag-establish na ng walls, nag-establish na ng walls para alisin yung mga Chinese Persians doon. Okay, so yeah, just a quick fun fact. Okay, so balik tayo sa pagiging externo ni Jose Rizal. Externo student siya for a very long time because she cannot afford to live inside the Intramuros or to board inside the campus. So he was staying at a house of isang laon. I forgot her name, sorry. Nakalimutan ko sa yung name. Isa siyang laon na mayroong utang sa family ni Jose Rizal of 300 pesos. No? May utang siya na 300 pesos and for it to be paid, no, she was asked by the father of Jose Rizal to make accommodations for his son. So, Rizal was staying there for free for food and accommodation, no, while he was in the first year, second year, and third year of his academic life in Ateneo. So, sabi natin kanina, big deal po ba talaga, ma'am, kapag externo ka or interno ka? Pag interno, nakatira ka naman sa loob ng Intramuros or sa loob ng campus. So, big deal po ba talaga sa kanila kung saan ka nakatira? Yes po, big deal po sa mga Atenista kung saan ka nakatira. Before lang ha, paano ngayon hindi na big deal? Kasi nga, their instruction were highly rigid of discipline and they are really religious, no? And speaking of discipline, they make the classrooms very competitive, no? Gaano ka competitive? They have divided their class into 2 empires, no? Hinati na yung population into 2 groups, and one group is called as the Roman Empire. These are the group of the students that are living inside the Intramuros or living inside the campus, and then the other one is the Carthaginian Empire. These are the students who are non-boarding, no? Hindi sila taga Maynila talaga, hindi sila taga Intramuros. So sino ba yung mga nakatira sa Intramuros? Sila po yung mga nasa highest class natin. Okay? Kaya big deal talaga. So, there was this division talaga sa social stratification ng rich and the poor, no? The Indios or the natives and the mestizos, no? The pure-blooded and the mestizos. So, usually division. So, gano'n siya ka-big deal kung saan ka nakatira before, kung saan ka nagsistay. So, ano nangyayari dito, ma'am? Bakit merong empire? So, sa empire, meron tayong mga rango, no? So, sa each rank, no, mayroon siyang particular na points. So, kung ikaw ang best student, you are the emperor. And as the emperor, it means that you are the smartest among the empire. Within your empire. So, second best would be tribune. Then next is decorion, and you don't need to memorize that, no, and so forth. So, lastly is the standard bearer. Pero, marami kasi kayo sa isang klase. So, what will happen is that the student could challenge any officer in his empire, sabihin empire pa to ha, within the empire, to answer the questions on the day's lesson. So, the teacher will lecture and then they will have their own books and then they will highly memorize that one. And then, failure to answer correctly 3 times, an officer could lose his position. So, it is really highly competitive, no? What if wala ka ka-study that day? Di pangutana ka sa imuhang classmate niya, very clever, very tricky, no? So, wala ka ka-answer. Kung ikaw ang emperor, no? Pag wala ka naka-answer, it would mean demotion of position. No, so magbabay mong position or kapag 3 beses ka na hindi nakasagot ng tama, mawala na jud imo ang rank. Okay, so it's like a game, no? It's like a game, it's like a competition, no? Murag life and death situation. So, hindi na sila ka-highly competitive. So, this grouping was done to stimulate the spirit of competition among students, and at the start, Rizal lagged behind his classmates, no? So, dili mo siya makita. in one of the ranks. So, kung hindi mo siya makita in one of the ranks, no, dili siya ang emperor na makipag-compete with the other empire. And kung ikaw magod ang emperor that time, you have the right to question the emperor of the other empire. So, kung kinsa tong emperor na nakakuha correct answer or mas dagan yung correct answers, that empire na iyang ginahold kay mas powerful. Dili siya for the char lang na empire ha. Nasa sila sariling flag inside their classroom, and the position and how the flag was placed inside their classroom would indicate kung kinsa na empire ang mas powerful than the other. Okay, so kung makita niyo na, ang among flag kay pang pa-defeat na ba, no? So ma-pressure ka ba kay everyday na makita niyo yung flag na patalo na mo, no? No, you're really defeated. So mag-strive na pud mo, no? Mag-compete na pud mo with each other kay para ikaw ang maging emperor, kay para ikaw mag-save sa inyong empire. So nga na siya ka-competitive, no? Nice siya na strategy kay mapugos jud ang estudyante na mag-study. But it will cause social anxiety, no? Kumbaga, parang may social anxiety siya kay wala na friends diri. No, ano friends, study tag tinuod. No, wala nga na ba? So, at the start, medyo na baguhan si Rizal, no? He lagged behind his classmates. Pero nagpatuloy ba siya na pagiging lag behind his classmates? The answer is no, no? Having a crude knowledge of Spanish, no, he became a source of ridicule from his classmates. What he did is that he studied hard and spent longer hours reading. Okay? So, yun talaga yung foundation ng kanyang mother, no? Sa kanyang pag-aaral before. It was reading and writing and praying. And I think that was these were good foundations, no? So, in reading, he convinced his father to acquire the whole set of the History Universal or the Historia Universal by Cesar Cantu, saying that it was a required book in his class. But actually, it was not. No, gusto lang yun ni Rizal na mag-study pa siya more. No, sana all na yung na dedication. No, sana po na yung na time. So, ayun. So, he requested his father to buy the whole volume of the Historia Universal. And aside from that, he also enrolled, no, in a private lesson or a private tutor, no, in Santa Isabel College, no, in one of the college in the Intramuros, and he paid 3 pesos for extra Spanish lessons, no. So hindi niya backlog dyan po siya pag-story of Spanish. Because if you cannot speak Spanish, manggod, you cannot understand Spanish in their time, then you cannot understand the lesson. Because the medium of his instruction is Spanish. So kung di ka kasabot ng Spanish, di ka so man na Spanish word, wala kong kabaluan ni, no? Then you will really lag behind your classmate. Kaya big deal talaga kay Rizal kung bakit kailangan niyang matuto ng Spanish at saka ng Latin, no? So, kasi kung hindi ka marunong ng language na ito, hindi mo talaga maintindihan yung lesson nila. Kasi compulsory sa kanila ang Spanish language. But in just a month's time, he became the emperor of his class and became the most outstanding in his class. So you see, naging genius ba si Rizal in this point of his life? Agad-agad, no? Naging genius ba siya in his privilege, magical privilege? No, hindi naman, di ba? So, it was a mix of his intelligence and of course his attitude and good relationship with studying, no? Nakalagay dito, he was really spending long hours reading, no? Pero of course, he still attend his studies, no? He still have a good lifestyle, no? Studious talaga si Rizal, guys, no? He was studious and he uses his time very well. And that's the value, no? Yun po yung value na gusto kong matutunan ninyo at the end of this lesson. That you will be able to acquire these values of Rizal and eventually you will have a good relationship with your studies. No? Hindi yung paparusahan yung sarili nyo kasi hindi kayo nag-study tonight and then kapag mag-quiz na, grabe sabay-sabay na yung mga subjects because you did not do it gradually, no? So have a good relationship with your study habits, no? With your study, kung meron kayo study buddy, no? You do that, no? Hindi yung nag-study buddy lagi ka, pero puro lagi mo chika, no? So, I want to share this with you if you want to do this. Pero, when I was in college, no? Di mo sa pagmamayabang, but I was in the candidate for cum laude, no? Pero hindi siya natuloy, of course, kaya wala mo ko na cum laude karon. So, I was a candidate for cum laude. And I was so shocked, bakit ganun, no? Bakit ganun? So, yun pala, because of the study habit that I have. No, for the very long time, from elementary to high school, wala ko yung study habits. But in college, no, because I am not anymore confident, no? I am not confident that I would pass the subjects because, ma-intimidate ko siya mga classmates because, galing sila ng MSU-CETD and some of them were really advanced, no? Galing sila ng City High. Hello sa mga taga City High dira. No, so, they were really intelligent and I am from a public school pa din, pero I was not in the first section, no? I was transferred in the second section when I was in first year high school. So, sabi ko, matalino talaga to ba, no? And when I was in high school, I was not excellent as well, no? So, I used to join some competitions sa mga essay and journalism, pero wala jud ko academically, no? Dahil lang jud ko na forte sa English lang jud and journalism, writing. Pero sa math, no, even in history, no, even in economics, no, as in wala jud, guys. No, so I really need to strive hard. And I was a slow learner, no? Yun lang talaga, guys. I was a slow learner. And until now, mag-ingon ako mga classmates na, ikaw, hindi naman kakailangan mag-study. But little did they know, nag-study good ko, no? I really need to study because if sa lecture lang ko mag-rely, I really couldn't understand it, no? For many times in college, no, patingalan na lang ko na nag-study mo ko slide, tapos naminaw magig ko sa klase, but why is it that pagdating ng quiz, hindi ko talaga siya maintindihan. Hindi ko talaga siya ma-apply, no? Kahit unsan ako memorize dira, diligid na ko siya ma-apply. That's why I'm really into reading. Na magana iba na, katong sa masters, no? Sabi ko na, wala pa ako ka-study. Last night lang ko nag-study. Because when I study, guys, I am studying for like 3 days, 3 nights, no? 3 nights just for a 1-day quiz, no? Kaya dili ko magets, no? Dili ko ka-gets. I'm really a slow learner. Inyo sabihin na, ma'am, paano ka maka-lecture karon kung slow learner ka, no? Actually, during my first year in teaching the Rizal subject, I spent nights, no? I mean, mornings, no? Night until dawn. Kanang ang tulog lagod na ako kay mga 3 hours, 4 hours because I really need to study the subject. Karing Rizal na ni, I really hated this one. No, wala ko pakiari na subject tong college ko kay wala ko gapaminaw, no? Because it's really lengthy, no? So it was not really interesting to me. But when I needed to teach it na diri sa school, sabi ko, paano yan? Wala talaga akong alam kay Rizal. Bukod siya ang national hero natin. So, I really need to study. So, I spent hours, no? Hours every day para lang maintindihan ko ano yung mga dapat kong ituro. Okay? So, yun. No, I spent hours, Jude. I spent hours for one lesson only. So, ayan, a very slow learner. So, nako isang classmate. So, mo to siya kung first tip, no? You read, no? If you are a slow learner like me, no? Hindi naman natin kagustuhan yun, pero slow learner talaga kami, no? So, yun, if you're a slow learner like me, you should have the habit of reading, no? Kasi ako, I really love reading. Tapos, ang second ko na tip is have your study buddy, no? Have your study buddy na dili siya ma-irritate kung mag-communicate to. No, lisod mag-study buddy ka, tapos nagkapangon siya, naka-notes, no? Naka-record ka, ingani, naka-take note ka, ingani, news. Tapos dili ka na niya replyan, kaya irita na siya sa imo, ha? So, have a study buddy na, na comfortable ka, na comfortable mo sa isa't isa. Because I have this study buddy when I was in college. Appeal po siya sa candidate for cum laude. So, tari siya na classmate na ako, nabarkada na po na ako siya. Kay, mas OA pa yun sa ako, siya, kay nag-graduate siya og salutatorian. Okay, nag-graduate siya og salutatorian. So, medyo kanang, wala ba ako honor, no? Section 2 pa yun ko. Tapos, dagan pag ko 9 of 7 pag high school. So, wala jud kasi wala jud guys. So may na lang kay naging friend na ko siya. So what she did was she made use of what she have, no? So talent amot kung talent jud niya, siguro talent gid niya, gift gid niya ang mag-memorize, no? Grabe gid kay siya mag-memorize. So siya taga-memorize, tapos ako taga-explain. Okay? Ako taga-explain sa iya kung saan yung memorize. And when I explain it to somebody man good, mas ma-remember na ko siya. Did you know that there was this study by Wade? Oscar Wade? No, yeah, Oscar Wade, na yung mga estudyante daw, subject sila into a research. Then, those students na ginatabangan nila ilang mga classmates in studying, no, in explaining kanang mga concept na dili nila masabtan, usually, yung mga students na tumutulong, sila po yung nag-excel sa klase. No, kahit hindi ka naman matalino sa klase or hindi ka naman magaling sa subject na yun, but when you help others to understand the lesson, eventually, you will excel in class. No? Sila din yung mga nag-excel sa klase. So, ganoon ang ginawa namin sa isa't isa. Kung mayroon akong hindi naintindihan, explain niya sa akin. Tapos kung hindi ko maintindihan, explain ko, kung siya naman hindi makaintindi, explain ko sa kanya. So, ayun guys, alam nyo, very extreme talaga siya. Kasi before kami nag-quiz, no? Before kami mag-quiz, especially sa Econ, mahirap kasi talaga yun. Gumawa na siya ng sarili niyang test paper. No, gumawa na siya ng sarili niyang test paper na feeling niya yun yung lalabas sa quiz. Quiz lang yun ha, kasi naman kung mag-quiz naman kasi sa MSU guys, parang exam. Nabalay quiz na 100 points. No, nabalay quiz na 50 points lagi, pero each item lagi 1 point, no? Quiz lang yan siya, 50 points, no, 50 items, quiz. So, ayun, gumawa siya ng sarili niyang quiz paper or test paper. Tapos, mas mahirap pa yung test paper niya kaysa doon sa actual na quiz. So, that's her method of studying. At yun ang ginagamit namin. No, tingala na lang mo mga classmate nga, nalalagay mo yung question, no, sabi nila nag-cheat me, no, daw may question daan. But little did they know, di mo lang dito naman na question. Kaya para, if ever man na magawas sa quiz, at least kabalo na may unsang answer. Okay? So, nga to siya ka-extreme. No? So, ayun, nung nalaman namin na running for cum laude na kami, our professors were informed about that. No? So, yun, mas pinahirapan na lang kami. At ang ending, isa lang po out of 10 ang na-cum laude sa amin. Pero, it's still great, no? At least, no, you excelled at least once in my life, no, nag-excelled ko in college. So, if you think that you're a late bloomer as well, no, if you think na, murag, wala man ko na-excel good, di man gig bright since elementary and high school. No, attitude is the key, no, values is the key. You should have a good relationship with your studies. Not to the point that you need to get depressed, no, ma-burn out ka. No, it's normal to be tired. Kasi tiring naman talaga ang pagiging student, no? Especially kung nag-duty na kayo or meron kayo part-time job. Kasi in college, I also have my part-time job. So yun, no? Have the good relationship with your studies, guys. Do not treat your study notes, do not treat your course, your mga lessons ninyo as something na kalaban ninyo na pagdating ng quiz, parang pinaparusahan yung sarili nyo, no? Na kailangan din ako ni-studyhan, pila na lang ka-oras, no? You do it little by little. You make it as a habit, no? So, yun po yung gusto nating i-share na value ni Rizal about his studies, no? Yung una kasi hindi ko talaga maintindihan, no, kung bakit very studious to si Rizal. Apple talaga siya, no? Pabibo talaga siya na estudyante. But, as time goes by, no, mas nakikilala ko siya, mas na-appreciate ko yung attitude niya. Okay? Mas na-appreciate ko yung attitude niya kasi just like us, hindi pala madali din yung pinagdaanan ni Rizal, no? If some of us had encountered some family problems, no, mayroong mga circumstances sa buhay natin that robbed, no, ninakaw ang ating interest in studying, no, that has robbed our joy or maybe the opportunity for us to proceed in studying, no? May mga ganong instances, no? Yung wala kang resources, no? And Rizal also encountered that one. Actually, nung second year and third year siya in Ateneo, he had encountered injustice, no? Hindi naman talaga siya naka-encounter, but his mother. And it has affected his studies, no? So, yung mother niya po ay na-imprison, si Doña Tudoro Alonso. Di ba, ma'am, di ba, ano naman yun siya, maganda naman yung ugali ni Doña Teodora Alonso. Bakit siya nakulong? So, ganito kasi yun. Have you remembered si Jose Alberto, yung tito ni Rosa Rizal? So, he was traveling in Europe that time, and he caught his wife cheating on him when he came back here in the Philippines. Ngayon, nag-aaway na sila ng asawa niya. Ang kada nag-aaway sila ng asawa niya dahil doon, nag-intervene daw ito si Doña Dora. Siyempre, kapatid niya yung lalaki, no? And also, siguro, nakakahiya sa mga kapitbahay. So, inawat sila ni Teodora. So, ngayon, munti ka na pala itong nalason na food poison si yung wife na nag-cheat, no? So, ngayon, kinasuhan niya yung asawa niya at saka si Doña Teodora. Na si Doña Teodora daw, kasabot daw ng asawa niya sa paglason sa kanya. When in fact, hindi naman talaga siya nalason. So, it's just for the issue to, the issue about her na mag-flame down tapos i-conceal ng issue about kay Teodora yung kanyang kasalanan, no? So, mas ang blame ng mga tao, ang focus ng mga tao, pupunta na doon sa chismis about kay Doña Teodora. So, pinaaresto niya si Doña Teodora at kinaladkad ito ng mga Guardia Civil, no, from their 2-story house. Imagine, kinaladkad ka sa hagdanan ng 2-story house nyo, palabas na inyong bahay, barefooted, papunta sa police station, and then barefooted again in the scorching sun, under the scorching sun. Tapos, barefooted papunta sa office ng town mayor, ng Gobernador Silio. Okay? So, nakakahiya talaga yun for their family, and of course, it was devastating for Rizal. Rizal was not anymore staying in Calamba that time, right? So, umuwi lang po siya doon during vacation, and it was agonizing for him to stay in Manila while his family was not okay, no, in Calamba, Laguna. So, it was only in 4th year in Ateneo that his mother was freed from imprisonment. Pero ma'am, naglag ba si Rizal noon? No, napektuhan ba kanyang studies? Yes, napektuhan po ang kanyang studies, no, hindi siya makapag-focus sa klase, but still, he maintained his grades as all excellent, no, all sobresaliente. Pakita ko po sa inyo ang TOR niyo sa Rizal, no, para makita natin na lahat po ng grades niya from the very first year ng mga subjects until the end, lahat po yon sobresaliente. Sobresaliente, it means excellent. Kung numerical pa yung grade nila before, flat 1 siya lahat, no? Flat 1 or 1.25, whatever. Okay, so, ayan. So, paano nakayanan yun ni Rizal? Maybe one of the factors why he was able to cope up, from those circumstances is the school, no? Yung mga teachers kasi ng mga Jesuits, though highly competitive sila, na yung mga estudyante doon, they are very learner-centered. Okay? Student-centered po talaga ang mga Jesuits fathers, no, sa Ateneo de Manila University. And I think until now, no, mayroong isang mayroong isang Twitter post na nag-viral nung pandemic. Kasi di ba nung pandemic, maraming nag-advocate na academic freeze, no? Sobrang depressing, sobrang stressful ng online classes, wala kami natutunan, no? So, sobrang daming activities, but not for the Atenistas, right? Remember nyo ba yon? Aside from the gadgets that they had invested for their students, no? Actually, yung schedule po nila talaga ang the best, no? They made the schedules of their students very flexible, no? That it will not burn out the student. No, the student will have a lot of time, ample time, just enough time to finish the activity for the first subject before siya magpadto sa second subject. No, so it's hours before the next subject. May mga days pa nga na one subject lang per day. Siguro 3 hours siya, pero one subject lang siya per day. E nga na good. So, very flexible talaga siya. Learner-centered talaga kasi ang Ateneo. So, one of the most favorite teachers of Jose Rizal was Francisco de Paula Sanchez, who inspired him to study harder and write poetry. And according to Rizal, he was a model of uprightness, earnestness, and love for the advancement of his pupils. You see, even Rizal, he had affirmed that the teachers in Ateneo were really learner-centered. They really looked after the performance and the advancement of their pupils, no? So here, Rizal really excelled. He won 5 medals for joining an essay competition, no, and poetry. Okay, so he was really expressing, no, his talents and his skills in Ateneo. So, fast forward po tayo, nag-graduate na si Rizal. Fast forward yun ay. So, nag-graduate na po si Rizal and became um, he became the pride of the Jesuits. No, he obtained the highest grades in all of his subjects. So as promised, ipakita natin ang TOR ni Rizal. So this source was from Wenceslao Retana. Wenceslao Retana was a journalist na nakalaban ni Rizal yung buhay pa siya. Niya kato namatay na si Rizal, he appreciated the life of Rizal and became a scholar of Rizal. That's what you call as legacy, no? So, even if wala na ka, no, people will still adore, no, your life. So, ayan nga, sa record po ni Wenceslao Ritana, mapansin natin dito na lahat ng subjects ni Rizal, from the very first year until the end, lahat po yan sobresaliente. So, he received his degree of Bachelor of Arts, no? And he graduated as the head of the class. During his stay in Ateneo, all of his grades are excellent, and according to Ambeth Ocampo, yung sanabi ko kanina na author, the author of Rizal Without the Overcoat, sabi ni Ambeth Ocampo, he was one of the 9 students in Ateneo who received the award of the highest grades. No? Can you imagine, sa buong batch ninyo, 9 lang kayo na nakakuha ng highest grades and you are one of them. So Rizal was one of the 9 students who topped the batch of 12. Opo, 12 lang din po sila sa klase. 12 lang po sila sa batch nila, kaya, yeah, congrats Rizal. No? So, ayan. Okay. Okay, so this is the last one for the Ateneo. We will discuss the UST next week. Next meeting kasi medyo short lang ito ng Ateneo. So, one of the highlights, no, na paborito talaga ng mga estudyante about the life of Rizal in Ateneo was his first romantic episode. Okay, so his first romantic episode was with Segunda Katigbak. Okay, so ang kanyang first ay si Segunda, no? Ang nauna ay si Segunda. So, yeah, madali lang talaga siya i-memorize, no? Sa Segunda Katigbak, she got a nickname of Rose of Lipa from Rizal. So, may pa-Rose tayo dyan. So, she was called as Rose of Lipa because she was a beautiful maiden from Lipa, Batangas. So, Batanggenya po ito si Segunda Katigbak, no? Ala eh. So, paano nga ba siya di-describe ni Rizal? No, para mayroon tayong image pa, para mayroon tayong ma-imagine kung gaano nga ba talaga kaganda si Segunda Katigbak. Sabi dito, she was rather short. No? She was petite. Si Rizal, mahilig po talaga siya sa mga petite na girls. Kasi nga, medyo short din po si Rizal. Sabi dito, with her eyes that were eloquent and ardent at times, and languid at others. Ano ibig sabihin nito? Malamlam po yung kanyang mga mata, nangungusap, na may gusto ipahiwatig, kada tumitingin siya sa akin, no, sana all. So, she was rosy-cheeked, with an enchanting and provocative smile that revealed a very beautiful teeth and the air of a self-herentile self diffused a mysterious charm. No? Ganyan din ba kayo i-describe na inyong significant others, no? Kung hindi, lugi kayo, no? So, ayan. So, nga ni siya i-describe ni Rizal. So, she was really beautiful, no? She was maybe angelic face and unpredictable, no? Unpredictable the Segunda Katigbak. And, ayan, talking about their love life, no? Paano sila nagkakilala? Nagkakilala po sila at the Brigida de Quinto suburban house in Troza, Batangas. So medyo ano yun siya, medyo malayo kina Rizal. It was when Jose Rizal attended the birthday of his grandmother. And also, nakilala niya din si Segunda Katigbak kasi roommate sila ng sister ni Rizal. Si man? Si Olympia. Si Olympia na sister ni Rizal, ka-roommate ni Segunda Katigbak. And Rizal would be often, no, visiting his sister Olympia. Pero actually, gusto lang niya makita kay si Segunda Katigbak. No? So, he resumed na to na ilang love story at the end of the conference because we only have less than a minute. So, let's rejoin using the same link and the same meeting ID for the last time. pa naka-join yung iba. Baka mabitin sila sa love story. So, let's wait for them. Okay, so yan. So, patuloy natin ang love story nila. So, ayun na nga. How it ended. So, it ended because Rizal found out na uuwi na pala si Segunda Katigbak sa Lipa, Batangas para magpakasal, no? She was already engaged to be married to her townmate, Manuel Luz. And Rizal did not express his love for Segunda Katigbak. No, meron silang mutual understanding because, you know, their gestures, yung pagtitinginan nila, they were really in love with each other, no? Kilig na kilig talaga sila, no? Pero, because Rizal, sabi dito sa notes ko, because Rizal was so torpe, no? He was ruined by his own shyness and reserve, no? Pero mapapansin ninyo, ma'am, di ba bata pa man guys sila para maging engaged? Yes po. Sa panahon po ni Segunda Katigbak, no? They were arranged marriage, no? With Manuel Luz, no? At the age of 14. 14 years old si Segunda Katigbak nito when she was engaged, and Rizal was 16 years old, no? So, bata pa dun guys sila. So, Segunda returned to Lipa and later married Manuel Luz. So, Rizal remained in Calamba, a frustrated lover, cherishing the nostalgic memory of his lost love. Kaya, kung mayroon kayong gusto dyan, confess na this is the sign. Charot. Okay? So, ayan. Pero, you know, you set priorities with your studies first. Okay? So, ayun po, dun po nag-end ang kanilang romantic episode. The first romantic episode. Kaya, marami, di ba, na-impression nila kay Rizal, he was a womanizer, no, she was a chick boy, but, you know, torpe po kasi talaga si Rizal nung una. No? Siguro, took him a while to gain that confidence, and now that he had that confidence, binabash na ninyo siya kay womanizer siya. Hindi na po ganon, no? Wag ganon. So, ayan. So, karpe po talaga si Rizal. Kaya, hindi nag-work ang kanilang relationship, no? Tapos, hindi talaga sila nag-speak with each other. No? Hindi sila nag-usap, no? Hindi sila nag-usap about their feelings because they were too shy, they were too torpe to speak about it. So, the next lesson for that, after that, would be his academic life in Santo Tomas. And we will discuss that next meeting. That would be on 19. Okay, so i-continue lang natin ng Young UST na academic life ni Rizal next meeting. Okay, but for now, can we all open our webcams as we end our class and